Hello there and welcome to the A-League Rundown. Each week here on YouTube we feature the FM21 exploits of the Central Coast Mariners, and on a Sunday we look back at all the other events in the A-League during the Mariners' massive save. As always, we begin on Rundown with Adelaide United. Now they played 2 games at Cooper Stadium in the last week, a 1-1 draw versus Brisbane, with Tommy Juric on the score sheet for his second goal of the season, and a 1-0 win over Perth Glory thanks to Michael Jacobson. There has been some talk, as you can see. Warren Moon has been spotted at Cooper's. He's been having a look at Jordan Elsey. So the Adelaide defender could be on his way over to Queensland. Speaking of the Raw, they had 2 1-1 draws this week. The first, as mentioned, against Adelaide, despite Jay O'Shea putting the Brisbane side ahead. And then they had the same scoreline away at Campbelltown Stadium against MacArthur FC. Joey Champness with his second of the season in that second fixture. Warren Moon, as we said, interested in Jordan Elsey. He's been a bit coy speaking to the press. I suspect there will be an offer made for him for the end of the season. Ourselves, the Mariners, we had that 3-3 draw with Western Sydney Wanderers. Then, hopefully, as you saw, big win over Melbourne City on YouTube. Of the 4 defenders that we had on trial, so we had Tim Hoogland, Dino Julbig, Matt Spranovic and George Niedermeyer. It is the latter, George Niedermeyer, that we have offered a contract to. What we're looking for is somebody to put alongside Ruon Tongjic, and I think Niedermeyer is probably the best fit, despite, it has to be said, his advancing years. Might be a bit of a gamble. MacArthur were another club with 2 draws to their name this week, as the Bulls took a point against both Melbourne City and Brisbane Roar. The big problem for MacArthur is injuries, with James Meredith, Tommy Orr and striker Matt Derbyshire on the sidelines. So Derbyshire, as you can see, has suffered Achilles tendonitis. He's going to be out for up to 4 weeks. As it stands, Ante Milicic has been turning to Moody Najjar to lead the line. Not convinced that he is the type of player you can rely on in that situation. Melbourne City have been disappointing, I have to say. They should have done a lot better this season. They've now played the opening 4 games of the campaign without recording a win. It's 2 losses and 2 draws. So we had losses against MacArthur and ourselves, the Mariners, Wellington Phoenix and MacArthur, the draws. So just 2 points from 4 games for a side many expected to challenge for honours. Melbourne Victory are much like their Melbourne rivals. The Victory are yet to record a win this season, and they warmed up for a big blue with a 3-2 loss against Wellington Phoenix. Very disappointing, before drawing 3-3 at the Jubilee Stadium. The good news is that Rudy Gestead has now scored 2 goals in 2 games. So it does seem to be a case of, if the ball is played up to him, around head height, in the box, the likes of Callum McManaman, he will find the back of the net. And as you can see, Bruno Fornaroli, no less, has been talking up Gestead in 4 appearances, 2 goals and 2 assists. So pretty good run of form for the Israel international striker. For the Jets, they had 2 wins in their opening 2 games. Then they recorded a Desmond against Perth with late goals. So plenty of drama in the game against the Glory. They went in front thanks to Costa Petratos. Early doors, just 2 minutes on the clock. Diego Castro eventually with the equaliser. It was then Roy O'Donovan, Roy the boy, putting the Jets back ahead in injury time. Daniel Staines with the 95th minute equaliser. The Jets then lost 1-0 against Western United. Bessart Beresha on the scoreline in the Hunter. Perth are yet another team without a win on the board this season. Perth drew 2-2 versus the Jets before crashing to defeat at Adelaide United. Interestingly, former Socceroo Frank Farina has been appointed youth manager at the Glory. So plenty of international caps for him. I think 37 international caps, 10 goals to his names, and he brings a wealth of experience with him to the Perth side there. Sydney had 2 draws in the last week, a 0-0 goalless affair against a stubborn Western United side before that 3-3 draw with Melbourne Victory in a big blue. Trent Bahaja, Costa Barbarissis and Milos Ninkovic with the goals there. Interestingly, Patrick Flotman has decided to stay, had plenty of offers to go abroad, as you can see, but has remained with the Sky Blues. It's now 3 wins out of 4 for Ufuk Talai as Wellington Phoenix beat both Melbourne Victory and the Wanderers, scoring 3 goals in each game. Clayton Lewis now has 3 goals for the season. They're scoring plenty, the Knicks. They are a team to watch out for in the coming weeks. In contrast, disappointing again for Western Sydney Wanderers. They did earn their first point against ourselves in a 3-3 draw, off camera, before promptly being rolled over by the Knicks. 4 games, 1 point and no wins for Carl Robinson. Western United, they like ourselves, they've gone unbeaten so far. They had a 0-0 versus Sydney FC, certainly not something to turn your nose up at. And then it was a 1-0 win over Newcastle Jets. Both were away fixtures. So interesting that Western United have been on their travels. The interesting aspect this week in terms of transfers for Mark Rudan has been his interest in Craig Noone. So the Melbourne City winger. Considering they do have the likes of Blackburn Wales also at the top of the pitch, quite interesting that he's looking again at bringing in somebody of quite similar quality, I'd say. I never quite know what's going to happen there, but I suspect he's on contract to the end of the season anyway. So much like Jordan Elsey before, what will tend to happen is once he becomes available, they will sign a pre-contract agreement with Western United. In terms of the A-League table, it's becoming quite there's a lot of gaps in there. So Central Coast Mariners ourselves at the top, along with Western United and Wellington Phoenix. 3 clubs on 10 points, and then we've got 3 clubs on 1 point, but not the 3 you'd expect. Perth Glory down there, Melbourne Victory and Western Sydney Wanderers, who have conceded 13 goals already this season. Big positive goal difference for ourselves, with 9, that's far and above anybody else. Western United with a goal difference of 4, the Knicks with 5, the Knicks with 4. So as you can see, plenty of good form up at the top of the table. The likes of ourselves, Western United, Wellington Phoenix, MacArthur and the Jets are all in the ascendancy. In the top 6, the finals positions, 4 of those clubs are undefeated, and then you've got Sydney FC currently in 6th place, holding on by goal difference over Adelaide United. There are plenty of big fixtures this week to come. It's another double game week, so fixtures to look out for. There we have the Sydney Derby, Melbourne Victory taking on Melbourne City, and then ourselves we take on MacArthur back in Gosford. Our second fixture comes against Melbourne City, so we just played them last week on YouTube. This will be the one that we feature again. So we'll play the game against MacArthur off screen, and then we'll head over to Amy Park to take on Melbourne City, and hopefully we can replicate our success. Didn't quite happen against the Wanderers for us, so we beat them 5-0 in our opening game of the season. Couldn't do it again the second time, only recording a 3-3 draw. But hopefully we can change that all round against Melbourne City. Come and join us. It's on Thursday every week. So just before the A-League round begins, we feature the Central Coast Mariners in the Mariners Massive universe, as I have taken over from Alan Stadgic. He's gone upstairs to the Director of Football role. I didn't want to lose him from the club. A wealth of experience and knowledge. That I have taken over the manager's hot seat. And you'll see us in action this coming week against Melbourne City. I'll see you then.